going on, everybody? Brandon with Strict Vision Athletics here, talking about the differences between the kettlebell and the Fatbell here in our very first This or That series. So these are very similar pieces of equipment, and that's why I wanted to talk about them for our first series. But I will say this, both of these have a wide array of different movements that they can do, and they are different in the way they feel while doing them. So let's start with the kettlebell, a classic. A kettlebell is certainly an older piece of technology in comparison to the Fatbell. It stood the test of time as far as versatility, ballistic training, isometrics, any kind of a single arm exercise where you want an off-tilt source of weight. A kettlebell really is a classic. I mean, you can take it to the beach, you can use it in the gym. It's an incredible piece of technology. Now, how it relates to the Fatbell, there are certain drawbacks with the kettlebell that I have found. For example, if I want to do a single arm press of any kind, the weight is going to be out here loaded on the outside of my arm, which if I'm doing any press, whether that's a bench press or a military press, it's going to dig into my forearm. It's going to really cause strain on the outside of my, my extremity. So for that purpose, I would say a kettlebell is probably an inferior piece of technology if that is the goal that you're trying to do. Now, when I compare that to a Fatbell for that exact exercise, you'll notice that the weight is perfectly centered. And that is something that the Fatbell does better than anything else I've ever found on the market. The Fatbell is a perfectly balanced piece of technology. Thanos would be proud. So from here, I can press straight up. I can keep it balanced no matter where I'm at. If I want to do lateral raises, if I want to do ballistic training, no matter what it is I'm doing, if I'm using this, it is going to be centered in my hands. I can do it with single arm. I can do it with two arms. Same as a kettlebell. That is one area where they are actually quite similar. The single arm versus two arm exercise variability moves from this piece of equipment to this piece of equipment, no matter what it is that I'm doing. Now, one of the big advantages that I see for the Fatbell as opposed to the kettlebell is going to be the pressing, but when it comes to the advantages that the kettlebell has over the Fatbell, I choose it for the ballistic training. Any kind of a hip extension, any kind of a swing, any kind of a snatch, anything like that where I'm trying to generate power, I gravitate personally more toward the kettlebells. I find that, like I said, they're an older piece of technology. They have stood the test of time, and there's a reason for that. That off-tilt swing that you get from having the weight away from your hand is really what you're going for when you use a kettlebell to begin with. So if it's a swing, a ballistic movement, or something powerful, I go kettlebell. If it's a press, any kind of a movement where I want to have the weight centered, I go Fatbell. Now let's talk about price. Briefly, I can tell you that these guys right here, they're offered from Rogue. Mine are the Donnie Thompson Fatbells, which I have ranging from 13 to 97 pounds. They go all the way up to 150. Now, the pricing on this, if you can get them, that's the thing too. These guys are always out of stock. They're never there. They're always sold out. But they range from like 30 bucks all the way to, I can't remember. What would we say? 130. 30 bucks all the way to 130 per pair plus shipping for these guys. We're going to have to verify that number, aren't we?
230.
Might have been 230. I thought so. I'm like, oh, that seems a little light. They're not cheap. They're expensive. And they're hard to get. That's the two biggest drawbacks when it comes to price for the Fatbell. Tough to get and expensive even if you can. So that's for this. Kettlebell is an entirely different story. Now, this particular kettlebell where I got Tony is from Onnit. And not only is it from Onnit, it's sold, it's no longer in production. You can't get these anymore. This is now a collector's item. So eBay or the used market is the only place where you can get the Onnit Star Wars or the Onnit Marvel series kettlebells, and you're looking at about $3 to $5 grand per kettlebell because they are a collector's item now. So it's pretty outstanding what the price has become. So as far as these existing kettlebells, these particular ones, I probably wouldn't say it's a good investment unless you are a collector. But kettlebells themselves, cheap and easy to get. You can look anywhere. Go on OfferUp. You can find yourself an entire line of kettlebells for probably like 150 bucks. They are a great piece of equipment. They don't have to look like Iron Man. You just get good sound equipment that is, one solid piece of steel. You won't go wrong, and you really won't pay that much for them. Guys, that's it for the first series. This or that, we're going to be doing a lot of other comparison and contrasting of equipment and equipment sales. If you have a piece of equipment that you want to see and you want to see it compared to something else, or maybe you see us doing a movement in here and you want to know if there's a way for you to do it in your gym, let us know, leave a comment, subscribe, and have an awesome day.